sit back and relax.
No. I'm gonna do it. Sorry. I want to do it.
That was America's Mountain Bar Rail.
He didn't bring his letter.
Now, we have been in operation since 1891, so that's 133
My ears are starting to
years.
clog up.
Every time we closed down was between
Are yours?
2017 and
Are yours clogging up?
refurbishment.
You like
Our owner,
this.
Mr. Philip Anshoot, generously contributed $100 million, and we got 3 brand new trains.
I'm just playing with you. Don't take it.
I know. I'm messing around
We
too.
also upgraded the 4 existing trains in our fleet, and we replaced the entire 8.9 miles of track from the depot of Matthew Springs all the way to the top of the summit of Pikes Peak.
I'm gonna throw you out the
The
window.
train you are riding on today
Okay,
was
stop.
built in
Let's enjoy
Switzerland
the
by a
scenery.
company called Stadler. It is powered by 2 diesel-electric Cummins engines, 510 horsepower each, and they are located at the back of the train. For your comfort today, if it gets a bit too warm in here, you are welcome to wind down a window. Simply stand up within your seating area, pull down on those 2 black tabs, trying to give yourself a hernia in the process, and you should get some nice cool air. But please be considerate to your neighbors, as the higher we go up the mountain today, the colder it will get. So please do not wait for your neighbors to turn blue with icicles hanging from their noses before you roll them back up again. You are also welcome to stand up only within your seating area to get better views for photographs and to look at things on the other side of the train today, but please, for your safety, do not stand across into the center aisle. All right, everybody, take a look to your left.
Okay.
No, you're right. No, you're on the left. This isn't going to work, is it? Because y'all are facing different directions. So if I want to point out anything of interest on this side of the train over here, I'm going to refer to that as the 3C side. 3C side over here, okay? And by method of deduction, if I want to point out anything of interest on that side of the train, I'm going to refer to that as the 2C side. 2C side over here. Is that good with everyone? Alright, good. We're on the same page. So as we come up around through the canyon here and around through these trees, you may notice some really interesting rock formations out there.
Yeah.
If you're from Colorado Springs, they might be a bit different to the other rock formations that we are more accustomed to.
Nice.
Those are called potholes. Now, Pikes Peak is what's known as a batholith. If we can remember back to high school geography and geology, the tectonic plates in this region are a subduction zone. And over 900 million years ago, an igneous magma intrusion occurred, which basically made this spewed out molten hot magma and granite all over
And
this
shapes
area.
the landscape.
Magma took a
Beautiful.
very long time to cool down. With the millions of years of weathering, it has resulted in what we
That's
see
pretty.
as Pikes Peak today.
Wow.
The rocks you see
Isn't
the
that
side of the train
beautiful,
right
baby?
now, they are unique
Oh,
to this
man.
area, and they have their own name. It is called
Does that
Pikes
make you
Peak
think
granite.
of God?
Pikes Peak granite is made up of
Does this make you think of God?
vodka, and quartz, as you may see
I'm sorry, my
clearly in
ears
the
are too.
sunlight as we pass
Does it
by.
make you think of God?
It is a pink colored granite, however, you may see other colors that are due to the lichen and the moss growing on them, which is predominantly a pinkish red granite. It's in fact porous and very fragile. So it's not the kind of granite we would use for our kitchen countertops.
Yeah, I miss the snow. We'll
As
get
we
some more
pass
when
through here, you
we'll
may
get some
notice
more when we
rocks with
climb
some
up.
very
Look at
clean
these
cut
rock
lines
formations,
through
it's so
them.
cool.
Now these clean cut lines are achieved through an erosion process known as ice wedging. Ice wedging is where water will get into a crack in a rock,
Yeah.
it will freeze, expand, and over that repeated process, eventually it's going to split that rock apart. Similar to if you get a bottle of soda that you want to cool off real quick, you got to throw it in the freezer, forget about it, then you come back and you find it's exploded everywhere. That's pretty much the same process. Now, as we head up the mountain here, you may notice the higher we go, the rocks will get smaller and smaller. This is due to the fact it's a lot more colder up on the mountain more often, and with an average rainfall of about 16 inches per year, that ice wedging process is happening more and more,
More and more,
rocks
yep.
down.
That's cool. Wow, look at that.
Now, for those of you on the 2C side, keep your eyes peeled because there have been some sightings out here of a very rare Rocky Mountain pink flamingo. I get the impression you don't believe me.
I thought he was going to say Bigfoot.
All right, well, you happen to see that? Oh, there it is. Where?
Oh.
Poor thing got lost on the way to Miami this year. Now, just in case you made a real the rocks around here are actually quite poisonous.
That's cute.
Yep, one drop will kill you.
One drop of what?
So you still need your coffee this
One
morning.
drop will kill you.
Well, we love our
He
rocks,
said
we
something
really do.
poisonous
We don't
something.
take it for granted.
Maybe he was talking about a snake or something.
I've got so many stone faces in here this afternoon. Come on, rock jokes are hard. Alright, after that rocky start, perhaps I should try an even bolder joke. No? No, I'm just getting warmed up. Alright, coming up here very shortly on the 2C side, we're going to be passing a boulder very close to the train. Now, once we pass this boulder, take a look across and just down slightly. You're going to see a rock down there that is a prime example of how ice wedging can create some pretty unique shapes. This
Wow.
one just happened to fall and face us like a diamond off a playing card. So now coming up for car number 1, once we pass this boulder here, take a look across and down slightly, and you're going to see the very aptly named Diamond Rock.
Oh, come on.
No, I'm just trying to. Let's see it.
Largest diamond in the world. Now coming up for car number 3, Diamond Rock.
Ooh, neat.
Yes, we are really good at naming stuff around here, folks.
Look at the snow down there. Oh, cool.
Now, just a handy little tip for you photographers on board today. You may get some glare off some of the windows. We've got a couple of ways we can remedy this. You could wind down your window, but the higher we go, you might become very unpopular if you start freezing people out. Or, if you're taking pictures with your cell phones today, put the cell phone right up against the
No,
glass.
you're fine.
And
You're
make
fine.
any
You're
glare
fine.
from your photographs today.
Okay. I bet you people are really going to enjoy seeing this video. So I'm going to post it to YouTube. Because that's beautiful.
It's amazing how it's just stay there.
That was so pretty.
Amazing how they just stay there.
Wow. That is awesome.
Some of them go tumbling.
All right, Tuesday side. Get ready with your cameras. We have our first waterfall of the day coming up.
All
Do
right.
not look straight down the canyon. Look down and right along the tracks. We will be coming up across Rose Emma Falls. A lot of controversy right now with how it got its name, but we believe it's because of two sisters that live in the area, Rose and Emma. So if you take a look out of the windows now, you should be coming across Rose Emma Falls. Now car 1. Look down and just along the tracks.
Oh. You can tell. Yep.
Caleb, are your ears
Tuesday
popping?
side. Are you feeling left out up there?
Pretty.
Well, if you get your cameras ready for a Kodak moment, we do have our next waterfall coming up along the 3-seat side. This one is higher than Niagara Falls.
Mom, I think
Ooh,
Don't
nice.
look higher or don't look up,
Keep
but
an
look
eye
straight
on you.
across and look down. You'll be coming across Minnehaha Falls. Minnehaha Falls being a Lakota term for laughing or dancing waters.
Oh, that's cute.
Coming across to the car 2 right now. And car 3.
Oh yeah.
All right, I think this is a perfect time for everyone to get introduced to each other. If you're sitting next to someone across from someone you don't know, go ahead and start introducing yourself to one another, get to know each other. So security card, birthday, where you're from. Also, for the 3-seat side, we do have our snowplow coming up ahead of the train
Hold my fingers.
along our
There you
siding.
go. Just enjoy
You
the
definitely
scenery.
get your
I am.
cameras ready.
Think
We're coming
about
up
the
on
Lord,
train
okay?
30, our snowplow,
Please.
which is aptly named as Frosty's worst nightmare, is operated by our section crew, who are the most important people along these tracks. They keep our tracks running and operating all year round for us in all conditions. So give them a wave, a funny face. You won't see them again.
Love you. Oh, yes. This is going to be great.
All right, now that we've all been properly introduced to each other, we are now approaching our first 25% grade. Now, 25% grade is for every 100 of feet that we go forward, we will be accruing 25 feet in altitude. So, what this means is that
How many times?
It's a very steep grade.
Cold.
25%.
It is, isn't it?
So as we're going up this hill, this is aptly named Son of a Gun Hill. Now,
Son
back
of
in
a
the
gun
day when we were
hill.
still operating
What'd you
steam
say?
engines, the firemen aboard the train would be feverishly throwing coal into the train to power it up this
Oh,
mountain.
wow. That's,
And by the
yeah.
time they got up to the top of this
Yeah.
hill, they would look down to car 3, if they had a car 3, but they'd be looking down the bottom of this hill and they would happily say, man, that was a son of a gun, or something like that. Now, car 1, can you see me? Can you look down here to car 3? Now, if you were to stand in the center aisle and fall down to car 3, you'd be falling down the equivalent of a 3-story building. So that's why we tell you, do not stand, do not
Sorry, I
cross
dropped
this
my
center
phone.
aisle.
I keep dropping it.
Now, aptly coming up next, we do have what we like to call
Just
prop
relax,
rock.
baby.
Now, we had about a week ago, we were coming up with a passenger train, and we had a rock across the tracks, and we had to get out and push this rock up on the side of the mountain. Let's see if it's still there on the 2-seat side. Oh, looks like it's still there. Now you see that crack right there? That's actually been getting bigger, so let's just hope that stays there for the next couple of hours until we come back down. That's what we like to call prop rock. Now coming up on the 3-seat side, we do have a well-lit, well-aired out home. If you're looking
How's your
for a
rating?
property along the
Good.
mountain,
I'm doing good.
we do have a cabin along the 3-seat side coming up for car 1 right now. Coming up for
Deep
car
breaths.
2.
Breathe in,
Nice
breathe
and
in the
airy.
mountain air.
You really could get a best view out of that place. We do have a bear that crossed along the roof not too long ago and made the roof collapse. Simply couldn't bear the weight on that one.
So that was an old fur trapper's cabin from the late 1800s. In fact, there were many of these out here at this spot. And at one point, the
How's your
University of
breathing?
Nebraska set up a small
How's your
alpine
breathing?
laboratory where they would grow all kinds of flora and
Yeah, we're
fauna, experimenting to see how it
How's
would
yours,
fare at a
Taylor?
higher
Ears
altitude.
are, yeah.
Needless to say, I've not seen any corn growing up here.
Yeah, I'm fine too.
Man, the
I'm
people
really
that
cold.
did those pipes.
Now, in the late 1800s,
I know,
would
right?
you believe there actually
really
used to be a
cold. I'm shaking.
hotel all the way out
I'm like
here?
my
Actually
jaw's
started as a
shivering.
small one-room cabin in 1882. A gentleman by the name of Thomas Palsgrove and his wife Nettie used to sell refreshments to hikers coming up the mountain here. And with the railroad coming in, that brought in even more money. So they were able to expand that small cabin to 22 guest rooms, a banquet hall, a post office, a train station, and a bowling alley.
Oh, that's beautiful.
So coming up here shortly on the 3-seat side, we're going to see a little flat area out here. That is where the train station used to be, and what was Halfway House Hotel was set back a little further into the trees. Now, in the early 1900s, you could spend a week out here room and board for $10. Unfortunately, in 1923, a fire broke out and the hotel burned down. The remains were removed in 1926. The only thing remaining out here is a sign we're now about to pass on the 3-seat side.
When we get to the top of the mountain, I think we might be walking a little bit slower, so just bear with me.
You're fine. I probably will be too.
We're now about to pass through an area known as Hell Gate, the only natural gateway to Pike's Peak. The rock spires either side of the train, they have their own names, Eagle's Roost and Castle's Dome. Now, for those of you on the
do you want my
3-seat side,
jacket?
get your cameras ready. We're now coming up on our last waterfall of the day. This one we call Pipe Falls, because this pipe is connected to the oldest continuously used hydroelectric plant west of the Mississippi. And at this time of the year, it does form some spectacular icicles hanging off the side. So get your cameras ready, especially now for car 1. We're now coming up on Pipe Falls. We're now passing through the beautiful Ruxton Park.
Wow.
Population recently increased to 4. The little white house you're about to see on the 3C side, that is where the caretaker's house is. Some of the wood from Halfway House Hotel was used to build this. Now once we pass the house, take a look back into the park, you're going to see a stone building back there. That is the hydroelectric plant. It powers approximately 200 homes in the local area and was built in 1925 and was the world's first fully automated hydroelectric plant.
Wow.
Then in 1931, for reasons unknown, that automation system was removed and a caretaker was put in place.
There's somebody living in that
Now,
house.
if you fancy yourself as a caretaker in this beautiful
I gotta let
idyllic
go of your
setting,
hands
you need
for
to
a
be
minute.
two
Is that okay?
things.
My arm's really
First of
killing me.
all, you need to be a hydroelectric engineer.
Just 1 second.
And second, an executive Costco
I need to
member.
hold it.
If you take a look down out of the 3C side, you're going to see down there what is their
Close to
driveway.
me.
And just to get back to the
Snuggle up.
nearest town
Post it to the
is a
world.
mere leisurely
YouTube.
60, that's right, 60-mile long drive.
I get a few views on there.
DoorDash really sucks out here.
Maybe 100 or something, maybe more. It depends. This might be a popular video.
Now, do we have anybody on board from the great state of Delaware? Anybody on board from Delaware today? No?
Nope.
No surprise. Moving on. Now, we are in Pike National Forest, and just for a little bit of size comparison here, you could actually fit the entire state of Delaware with some wiggle room into Pike National Forest, being 1.4 million acres. And in
That's
those
awesome.
1.4 million acres, you may see a whole host of wildlife out here, so keep those eyes peeled. You never know. You may get to see some wild turkeys, porcupines, bobcats, mule deer, elk, moose, Sasquatch, mountain lions, and if they weren't hibernating right now, bears.
Dad, can I have
And
that
don't
jacket?
worry, there's no grizzly bears here in Colorado. Well, actually there are. There's a couple in the Cheyenne Mountain Zoo in town. But if we were to see any bears today, they would be of the black bear variety. And the kind of black bears we get up here, they do come in a host of different colors. Cinnamon, brown, blonde, black, black and white, but essentially they're all the same species of black bear.
Black bear is the best bear. They're the small bears. Bears eat.
Now the stretch of track we're on for the next couple of miles, keep those eyes peeled because we have been getting moose sightings in this vicinity, so if you do happen to see anything like that out there today, please shout it out and what side we'd all like to see. Now as we do pass through here, you may notice some blue and pink ribbons tied to some of the tree trunks out here. These are put here by the U.S. Forest Service. They maintain the land either side of the tracks here, and these ribbons are survey markers. These survey markers may denote to test a tree for possible disease or selection for felling.
Cool. You have to keep up with that stuff, Charity, because of the train and all this stuff.
Yeah, because some of these evergreens are dying on the bottom. Wow. It's weird.
Yeah.
Things like that. That's not normal.
Imagine if people top of Pike like at a restaurant. They must be constantly getting disoriented.
No, they're used to it.
They're just fine.
No, I'm just saying they probably do.
They just put those warning signs out there as an extreme, so if people have like
Can you not say that
if
word?
people like an existing precondition, health condition, she's nervous. Then they just want to warn people. That's all. They do that on rides too at parks, But you have fun on rides. You're a thrill
Okay, let's not talk about the altitude anymore.
Charity.
Huh?
They're going to do something. Why are you worried about it? You're all around.
But she's scared.
What? You're all scared shit. You're gonna fall or something.
No, I don't think we're gonna fall.
This is like the song "Coming Around the Mountain."
All right, coming up on the two-seat side, a flat area in Colorado is known as a park. So coming up on the two-seat side, we have what we like to call Deer Park. And that we like to call is not because of the bunny. It's because of the deer that can, on occasion, be seen here in the early mornings and the late afternoons. You can see deer wandering about this flat area that we're coming up. In the back of this area of Deer Park, if you see in the very back will be trees that will be red in color. Those are called ponderosa pines. They get that color only because after 80 years can they fully achieve a color of that nature. Now, if you were to squeeze that bark you'd get somewhat of a smell of butterscotch or vanilla.
Wow.
Passing through Deer Park now for car 1 and entering for car 2. We can often see turkeys here as well a couple weeks ago. So definitely keep your eyes out for wildlife. Entering now for car 3, Deer Park. Now if you look on the other side of the train, the 3-seat side, if you see all these trees that look about white in nature, those are called our aspens. They are native to Colorado and grow best above 8,000 feet. If you were to rub your hands on the bark of the aspen tree and you get a white powder, you can actually use that as an SPF 2 or an SPF tree sunscreen.
That's cool.
The white powder also has the same chemical balance as aspirin. You can often find deer chewing on the bark after they've given birth to relieve the pain.
Wow.
Now you might be thinking that we're passing, 100, 200 aspen trees. You would be wrong. An aspen tree is actually known as an aspen grove because they're actually all connected under the ground with one single root system. They are the second largest root organism, second to fungi. I've also been heard that if you use swamp coolers during the summers, you can also use the bark of the aspen tree as a filter for your swamp coolers.
That's so pretty.
All right, do we have anybody on board from the great state of Wisconsin?
Nope.
No one from Wisconsin today. Okay, well, I haven't mentioned Wisconsin. Oh, we do. Welcome, fellow cheeseheads in town, everyone. So I have to mention Wisconsin because our founder was a gentleman from Wisconsin by the name of Zalman Simmons, who was actually the mayor of Kenosha at one point and somewhat of an inventor. And in the late 1800s, he was out here inspecting insulators on a foul-weather telegraph system he had designed that was installed on the mountain. And he thought this area to be so beautiful that everybody should have access to see this. However, not the way that he traveled out here, which was a very uncomfortable 3-day burro ride, which he described as being the most uncivilized thing he ever had to do. So we went back to Wisconsin, got with some investors, and they got together $1.5 million. And in 1889, they came out here to start building the railroad. Now, 13 months later, on June 30th, 1891, we had our first customers, some of them being a church choir from Denver. Now, if anybody hazard a guess at how much a ticket to ride the Cockrail might have been back in 1890?
$10.
I got 5 cents over here. I got a gentleman over here correct exactly first time. So to ride back in 1891, a ticket would have actually cost you $5.
I was closer.
Yeah, $5. That's a lot of money back then. In fact, in today's money, that equates to about $175 a ticket.
Heck
Yeah, I
yeah.
think we know where that collection plate was going, folks.
Wasn't cheap.
And that ticket price
Was
remained
not
the
cheap.
same for 50 years. Now in 1910, Zalman Simmons, he passed away and his family took over the running of the railroad up until 1926, when a gentleman by the name of Spencer Penrose, who built the 5-star, 5-diamond Broadmoor Hotel and Resort down in Colorado Springs, he bought the railroad, and we've enjoyed that union with the Broadmoor Hotel ever since. Now, if you don't think you've heard of Zalman Simmons, you may have. Anybody on board ever slept on a Simmons Beauty Rest mattress? Yeah, same guy. Set up the Simmons Bedding Company. Probably as a result of that very uncomfortable 3-day burro ride, I should imagine. Now, for those of you on the 2C side, take a look out and up towards the mountain there. You may notice a little building up there. That is, in fact, the Summit House on top of Pike's Peak. That is where we are heading today. Now, we started our journey at Manitou Springs, an elevation of 6,571 feet. We're now approaching an area known as Mountain View, elevation 10,012 feet.
You can see the chewed marten in the trees. I bet you the deer chewed those.
This stretch through here, this is typically where we have a high concentration of moose, so keep your eyes peeled, everybody.
Is your what?
5,280 is a mile.
Yep.
Quarter mile is 1,320 feet. Half a mile is 26 feet. Quarter is what's a full one? 5,280. So we're almost to Pikes Peak is like 2 miles. That's 4 miles. No, that's over 2 miles. That's almost.
Now coming up on the 3C side, we're about to pass one of the old original passenger cars from back in the day. It now currently serves its purpose as a hiker's shelter or a shelter to our maintenance and section crews should they be working on this area of the mountain. Now in 1806, a young Army lieutenant from Lamberton, New Jersey, or now Trenton,
Words of wisdom.
Montgomery Pike
Okay,
was in
go.
this area. He was serving the southern part of the Louisiana Purchase, which was a land deal between President Thomas Jefferson and Napoleon Bonaparte of France. It effectively doubled the land size of the United States at that time with a single stroke of a pen.
I was earlier.
Now,
My ears.
Pike noticed what he initially thought was the tip of a blue cloud. Once all those clouds parted, the entire
good,
mountain
though.
range was laid out before him. He saw the summit and
air.
decided to go on an expedition to get
Breathe
to the
it
top.
in.
Now, Pike and his expedition, they did initially run into some issues. First of all, they were wearing their summer uniforms, and winter was now starting to set in. As they head up the mountain, they soon begin to realize that their supplies are now running low. And the higher they go, they keep getting hampered by blizzards, up until the point they get waist deep in snow, so they decide to give up and turn back. Now, Pike never actually made it all the way up to the top of the mountain. Now bears his name. In fact, he never even named it after himself.
No, I'm just
In
kidding.
his journals, he modestly refers to it as the Grand Peak. But he also makes note that he thinks that no mortal man will ever reach its pinnacle. He also thinks it's 18,000 feet high. So he's wrong on 2 counts there. Now, the first person to get to the top was a botanist by the name of Edwin James. He was just 22 years old, and he actually classified our state flower, the blue columbine.
Oh,
So on
cool.
July 14th,
Cool.
1820, he gets to the top, and for a short time, this mountain is known as James Peak. Now, 200 years prior to this, the Spanish conquistadors in the area, they referred to the summit as Montaña del Sol, or Mountain of the Sun. They also referred to it as El Capitan, or the captain, or the leader. Now, to the Native Americans, the Ute tribe, they refer to it as Taba Kaba, or Sun Mountain. To the Pawnee, it is Tuspay, or mountain that touches the sky. To the Arapaho, it is Heeotoyo, or the Long Mountain. And to the Hickory or Apache,
Your hair's gonna-
Yatayetzia,
Hold on, your hair's
meaning
in the
mountain
back.
touching heaven,
Want me
or
to
mountain
tuck your
that
hair
holds
in?
up the sky. Now, over the years, this mountain has gone by many names, by many different peoples, and there is actually archaeological evidence found in this area of Clovis culture. So we're pretty sure they would have had a name for the mountain, but since they predate written language by 11,000 years, we will never know.
You might be pushing on my chest.
Now, it was because Pike kept such extremely detailed journals, he made it so much easier for other explorers to get up here, so they named the mountain after him. So initially, it was called Pike's highest peak. Then in 1859, the Colorado Gold Rush hit, and the term Pike's Peak or Bust became the war cry in these parts. And then eventually the newspapers, that just loved to shorten things back then, it went from Pike's highest peak to just Pike's Peak, and it's been known that way ever since. Now, Pike was eventually given the promotion to the rank of Brigadier General. He fought in the Battle of 1812, and then in 1813, at the Battle of York, which is
Did you
now
see
Toronto,
that?
Canada, he was killed by
That's
gunpowder
going straight
magazine
up,
explosion.
too. What the heck
He's
is
now
that?
laid to
A
rest in a
rocket?
military cemetery in
Dang.
Sackett Harbor, New York. He died at just 34 years old.
Dang.
You don't see it?
That's nuts.
What
Let's
is
go look right there. It was a plane.
It was. It was a jet. It was a jet plane.
And they're disappearing.
how?
That's not ice. It's not ice.
No, it's not.
It's ice in there.
Ooh, this beautiful snow.
They're putting out stuff in the air.
What do you think about the snow, bud? It's pretty.
The first target's this little. If
Mm-hmm.
it was ice, don't you think it was ice? Wow. If If that was ice, the mountains would fall over the ground. If I know
Now, if you start to take a look at the 3C side, and all those rocks and boulders on the other side of the valley there, that is actually believed to be where the Pike expedition actually finished. Today, this area is known as Lion's Den, as in the warmer months of the year, those rocks heat up, and park rangers have observed mountain lions sunning themselves out on those rocks. Similarly enough, we also think mountain lions have also observed park rangers sunning themselves out on those rocks.
Oh, that painted a visual. Oh, wow. Beautiful view. If you were on the phone like that, you'd take a video and you'd be like, it's fun though.
Wait till we get to the top.
We're almost at the top.
Are you
baby.
lightheaded?
We're almost at the top. Back there, he said we were like 10,000 feet already, so we're almost up there.
Yeah. I was earlier, but I'm not now.
I think your body just slowly adjusts to it, like what we've been doing over time, Nebraska, and then going to Colorado Springs and staying,
Can you stop?
and then going up here and walking around the town, and then out.
Wow.
So in 1893, an English professor from Falmouth, Massachusetts by the name of Catherine Lee Bates was here. She was teaching at the Colorado College in town, and that summer her and a group of teachers decided to go on a trip to the top of Pikes Peak. However, they did not take the newly established cog rail. They decided to go up via a prairie wagon. And since
Oh my
horses
gosh.
do not do too well at this altitude, they actually have to get off and transfer over to mules to get the rest of the way to the top of the summit. Now, whilst riding up here, Catherine Lee Bates, she is so awe-inspired by the sea-like expanse of scenery she's witnessing up here, she begins to hastily write down a poem. When she gets back to her hotel room that evening, she finishes off that poem, which is later put to music called Materna. And you may now know it today as America the Beautiful.
Oh, cool.
Now, America the Beautiful almost became our national anthem.
Yeah,
It
yeah.
came in second, all bar a couple of votes, to the Star Spangled Banner.
Poem.
Jack calls himself a poem. He says.
Poet.
A poet, Jack.
Okay, thank you.
It goes that way. Let's watch.
Observe the gravity. Thank you for that, actually. I'm putting it. It's nice and warm.
Look at all those paw prints.
And now, everyone, if you turn your head to the 3C side, we welcome you to Inspiration Point. We've got a beautiful view down there today of Colorado Springs. We can also see over into Kansas and Oklahoma. So if you happen to know anyone out there today, be sure to give them a wave. Now that sunlit orange rock you see down in the valley there, that is part of Garden of the Gods. This particular rock formation is Kissing Camel's Rock. We can see to several states on our journey today, obviously Colorado, Kansas, Oklahoma, New Mexico, and Wyoming. In fact, on a clear day, you can see the high-rise buildings of Denver and Denver Airport from the summit of Pikes Peak.
If we could see south, we'd be able to see New Mexico. I don't know.
Now, these trees we're about to pass here on the 3C side, just in case you happen to be wondering why they are growing at such a strange angle. Actually, they're not. They're growing perfectly straight. We are the ones on the incline here. Now, these are bristlecone pines, Pinus aristata. Some of these actually date back over 200 years old.
Oh, wow. Oh, look at that one.
Oh,
Wow. They're all big. Looks like. They're not big. No, they're not straight. Dang, those are so cool. Wow. Get that video.
neat. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
That is awesome.
Now, coming up on the 3C side, if you take a look down, you're going to see a white patch down there just in the distance. That is a very frozen Lake Moraine. Now, Lake Moraine is actually the remnants of a glacier that was in this valley, and as it retreated, it deposited all those rocks and boulders down there, which we now know as Lion's Den, and Lake Moraine is what remains. It is the only natural lake on the mountain. It is 46 feet deep, and in 1891, a dam was built on the end of the lake there, and if you look real close, you may notice a road going over the top. Yes, that road is still part of that 60-mile driveway from Ruxton Park. In fact, the water from Lake Moraine actually feeds down into the Ruxton Park hydroelectric plant.
Wow. That's cool.
Mr. Johnson, this is why it's so cool.
That is.
Those cedar trees, you know what I'm saying?
Oh my gosh.
They don't have any water that
Let me see.
Just drop it. You're pushing it.
What's the little ice machine?
It's just
See
going.
how it goes down and then climb over.
Let's go down.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Yeah, I wonder if it does.
All right, now we normally get a commonly asked question is, what is a cog rail? What makes it different than a normal railway? Well, on our railway, we have your standard T rails on either side of the tracks, but in the center of our tracks, we have what's called a rack rail. And that is what is powered, or what our train powers along up the mountain with the gear system that we have underneath the cog system that operates underneath our train at the moment. Now, we do have 3 cog railways in the United States. We have Mount Washington Railway, the oldest cog railway in the United States. We have Quincy Mine Cog Railway in New Jersey. And then we have Michigan, Michigan. If you thought it was New Jersey, you're wrong, so am I. But we do have our own and our one and only Pike's Peak Cog Railway, which is the highest and therefore the best cog railway.
You probably looked at the car that time on the church
Yeah, I had a hard time too. Trying to get in the reflection.
If you looked at it, it was just numbers.
Some of them what?
You fell asleep while I was walking.
Yeah, they had to cut it.
Uh,
See,
We can put the camera down for a minute. You want to do that? I'm fine. Just a little bit, enough for you to get your phone out of there.
All right, everyone, you probably noticed that we're beginning to run out of trees. So we're now coming out of the montane zone. We're now starting to get up into the subalpine and Arctic tundra regions. So we're at an approximate altitude of around 11,500 feet right now. This is an area known as tree line or timberline. So due to the poor soil quality, the climate, and especially the wind at this altitude, it is not very conducive for growing trees. Now, if you take a look out of the 3C side of the train and that mountain directly across from us with not many trees on it, that is Mount Mulgray. Also known as Calendar Mountain because it is 12,365 feet in elevation. And also you're now going to get a more full view of Lake Moraine off the 3C side. for those of you on the 3C side up the front there, you're going to see it first. Look out for the two tall trees that are closest to us by the track here. Once we pass those two tall trees, take a look down. You're going to see a tree down there that kind of looks half dead, half alive, with very light grey color bark, gnarly branches, and a very thick trunk in comparison to those around it. Kind of looks like the tree of Gondor. This is a bristlecone pine that dates back over 2,200 years old. So we're now going to be coming up for car number 1. For those of you on the 2C side, you can stand up within your seating areas. Make sure you're holding onto the back of a seat back loop, but do not stand or cross into the center aisle. You should be able to get a view.
My arm's getting tired.
And should now be coming up for 2.
I mean, it's definitely chilly, but I don't feel like you're getting cold.
It feels good right now. Okay. It is just.
Do you have a good view over there? You want to grab some? Yeah, I don't stand up.
I think that's the move.
All right, now coming up for the back of car 2, and now coming up for car number 3, a bristlecone pine over 2,200 years old. Now with a change in our flora and fauna, we also get a change of our wildlife up here at this altitude. So keep your eyes peeled, because there is a nesting pair of golden eagles that can sometimes be seen circling around the terrain up here. We also get nuthatches and Arctic ravens. Now these large black birds were revered by the Native Americans as something supernatural due to their seemingly very intelligent behavior. Oh, take a look out the 2C side down there. That's our maintenance and section crew, so be sure to give them a wave, everyone. These guys work really hard all year round in all weathers to make sure that our tracks are safe to operate on at this time of year. Now, where were we? Arctic ravens. Yes, Arctic ravens were apparently revered by the Native Americans as something being so supernatural due to their intelligent behavior. Now, scientists have since tested and concluded that Arctic ravens do have the intelligence of a 7-year-old child, which I guess is quite terrifying, really. Other animals you may see up here are deer, elk, and bighorn sheep. Now, for those of you on the 2C side, you may start to notice that that snow is getting up awfully close to your windows. Please do not reach out and touch it.
No.
It may look white and fluffy out there, but it does actually have the consistency of concrete and razor blades. So I do not want to see any red snow on the way down the mountain today. Now, as winter goes along up here, the snow will actually go up above the windows and above the train at this point on the mountain. There we go, it's going up.
Yeah, you can tell. Oh, yeah.
Look at how deep that is. Oh my goodness. This is like that Crash Bandicoot level.
Yeah, right.
Where you have to fight all the penguins.
Now we are coming up to an area of the mountain known as Windy Point. It is not unusual to experience wind speeds in excess of 100 miles per hour up here. In fact, the strongest wind speed recorded up here was over 180 miles per hour, and that was the equipment recording it.
Don't leave. Oh, and there's the crew. I can see that. All the way to the top today.
Now, if you take a look out of the 2C side and look up and notice that wire resting along the snow and intermittently passing under the rocks there, that is actually part of the original telegraph system that was installed up here by Solomon Simmons in the late 1800s. So in the early days, when you could first get up to Pike's Peak, you could actually send a telegram for 25's highest Western Union office in the world. Now, as we pass through the cut here, take a look out of the 2C side, you're going to see a stone building up here. This is the original maintenance and section crew house. So when they were building the railroad, the maintenance and section crew would actually live up here during the summer months. Now, a little bit more recent in history, one of the former cog foremen, Mr. Bruce Taggart, used to live up here. And he must have been some guy, because he persuaded his wife to live up here with him.